Okay, we are live. Hello everybody, welcome to this Verbling class, and my name's Amy, and today's class is all about procrastination, which is a long word and a pain, I can tell you. I don't know if you guys are the types of people who procrastinate, but it basically means that you put off doing something that you know you should be doing. Why do we do this, and how can we stop it? If stopping procrastination is one of your New Year's resolutions, then join us as reading, and we're going to be having a good old discussion about procrastination and what we can do about it. So maybe we can improve and become better human beings for 2015. Let's hope so. So before we get started, if you're new to Verbling, welcome. Here are 2 pages that might help you out with your time here. I'm going to paste them into the chat box, so do have a look at those after class if you have time. Obviously, if you're following us on Google+, you can find these pages at verbling.com. And I'm posting 2 of those pages. So the first one I've put up there is my Facebook page, and that's for my Verbling Teacher Facebook page. It's a really handy place to go to if you're interested in kind of keeping in touch with a teacher, seeing if you, I don't know, keeping in touch with kind of useful stuff that comes up as we go through our weeks and months, and sharing things from our countries or something that's particularly relevant to English learning. So do check that one out. And if you're looking for some more particular information about one of the teachers or their classes or their private tutoring, then you can go to the Verbling teacher page. That's where you'll find all the information about a particular teacher, so do check mine out there and the other teachers who you've been attending classes of, or who you like the look of. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to say hello to our students. First of all, I'm going to say hello to, well, let's start with Raphael today. Hello, Raphael.
Hello, Amy.
It's that interesting week between Christmas and New Year where you can't really say Happy Christmas because it's over, and you can't really say Happy New Year because it's not the New Year. So I'm just going to say hi.
Hi.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Yes, you can say I had a good Christmas. I haven't done anything special. Just stay home with my family.
Okay. The most important question, Raphael, is did you eat too much?
Okay, let's change the subject, please. Let's not talk about it, please.
That bad, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I know what Raphael's New Year's resolution is going to be, apart from stopping procrastination. All right. It was lovely to see you, and nearly Happy New Year.
Okay, likewise.
Okay. Who else do we have? Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, teacher. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you too.
Where are you from?
I come from Italy. And you?
You come from Italy. Well, I'm from England, but I'm actually living in New Zealand. So I'm the other side of the world from my native home country. Do you know where New Zealand is? I'm going to type it for you. There you go. Near Australia.
Australia, yes. Teacher, I have a problem. I can't. I own the tablet, and so I can't view. I can see the document.
Chat box. You can't see the.
I don't know
Okay.
how to translate this. If you can, come on. Don't worry. Forget it. Forget it.
All right. I think I know what your problem is, Sarah. If you use an iPad or a tablet of some kind, or an iPhone or other Android device, I think one of the problems is that you can't see the chat box, which is down the side of the screen.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much, because we won't be using it much today. It's a reading class, so I'll mostly be correcting you verbally, okay?
Okay. Thanks, teacher.
No problem. Well, welcome, Sarah, and it's lovely to have you in class today.
Thanks.
Right, I'm going to go to Shell. What a nice name. Hello.
Oh, hello, teacher.
Is your name really Shell and not Shelley?
Not Shelly.
I love that name. What an awesome name. Where are you from, Shell?
Thank you. I am from the Philippines.
And do you have like a Filipino name, or is Shell your real and true name?
Not my real name, but it's very near my real name.
Oh, what's it? Can you tell us your real name?
Sheila.
And does it mean shell, or it's just a sound?
Oh, just the sound, and because I used to love this basketball team. It's a shell team, so I wanted my name to be the same of that.
What an awesome thing. What a cool story. Well, it's lovely to meet you, Shell. So you're from the Philippines, and do you live in the Philippines?
Yes, I do live here.
Well, you aren't far away from me. I can almost see you. Well, my eyesight's not that good. But lovely to meet you. Why are you studying English, Shell?
Well, good question. I've I don't have any formal teaching about this, but I use English a lot at my work and school. So I had to be here to polish it. And also I have a fear in talking in public. So I thought
A fear of
that
public speaking.
yeah, that's one.
All
So
right.
I
Well,
thought of doing here.
excellent reasons, Shell. Welcome to the class. And you don't need to have a fear of public. I'd say this isn't really public speaking because we're all in different countries and, you don't have to stand up and present things to people. So I hope that you will speak lots in class today.
Thank you for that.
All right. Who else do we have here? Let's start from the beginning again. And we have Edgardo.
Hi teacher, how are you?
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Where are you from?
I'm from Chile,
Oh, right. Which part of Chile do you live in?
in the capital, Santiago.
Okay, I just met another student from Santiago. Maybe you know each other. His name is Chris. No, I'm only kidding. All right, so tell me, Edgardo, what do you do in your life? Do you work? Do you study?
I work in an architectural firm. I'm a
Wow.
draftsman. I draw architectural plans.
Wow, that sounds...
Hmm? So I spend all the day in front of the computer.
Join the club, Edgardo. So do I. For a different reason, but still, I have to force myself to keep getting up and running around my office and going out for a walk because I hate being sat down all day and I think it's bad for your body. So that's probably the worst thing, but still. Why did you choose to be a draftsman? Have you always enjoyed architecture or art?
I think I like to draw, for example, buildings and to draw for details in which you could show the components, the different components of the building.
Components.
Component.
Yeah. All right. I admire you, Edgardo, because I think not everybody can do that. It requires a lot of skill and patience, and it's amazing. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you. Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Mulham, welcome back.
Hello again, Amy. How are you?
I'm good. Have you been studying all this time?
Yeah, kind of, because I am focusing on my English for that awful test.
Yes, I remember you telling me before. So you've been studying, well, you're doing well already, Mulham. Your new year is going to be very successful if you continue at this rate.
I hope so. Thank you, Amy.
And I just laugh at your picture. Is that like a cartoon of you? Who is that cartoon?
Yeah, it's of me. It's a cartoon of me. I have designed it using a program, an app. It's called the Bit Strips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a close resemblance of me. Resemble of me.
A close resemblance.
Yeah,
A
a close
close
resemblance of
resemblance.
me.
I love it how you think a cartoon is a close resemblance. All right, I'm very intrigued by that. Do you have those kinds of sunglasses that you're wearing there?
Yeah, the same color. It's also blue. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's a very entertaining picture, and welcome
And
back
I
to
have
the class.
and I have a grizzled beard just like the photo. It's very close resemblance. Resemblance.
Resemblance. It's a tricky word, but
Resemblance.
yeah. All right. Great. Nice to see you back again, Mulham. Okay, who else do we have? Two more lovely students. Nelson, hello. Also have a cartoon.
Hey Amy, nice to meet you. Hey everyone.
Hello, Nelson. So tell me about your picture. Is that you?
Yeah, that's just me with some filters that I added.
A couple of filters, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Dominican Republic.
All right. That's awesome. I really want to go to the Dominican Republic one day.
You should. We have a really nice weather now that we are
I
in
know.
winter. Yeah.
Is it always hot and beautiful and sunny?
Most of the time, but for example, right now there are many tourists here because our winter weather is basically your summer weather. So yeah,
So everyone wants to get away from the snow and come to the Dominican Republic.
yeah.
You lucky thing. Oh, well, it's lovely to meet you, Nelson. And welcome to the class.
Thanks. My pleasure.
Okay. We also have Ramon.
Hello,
Hello, Ramon. Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil. Have I met you before? I don't think so.
Yes, I guess I had one class
No?
with you, but a long time ago.
All right,
Because
forgive
of
me.
our
My
time
memory's
zones
not so
is
good.
no problem. Because the problem is the time zones is pretty different.
Yeah, I know. So it depends on the time of the time of day. I
Yeah.
understand. So how is everything going, Ramon? Remind me, what do you do for a living?
I work as a business analyst in a computer firm, and I work
Hmm.
there as a developer.
Wow, so you're a computer guy too? Always in front
Yeah.
of the computer?
Yes, as a whole day.
And what do you do to recover from computer, I don't know, cabin fever after you get home from work? Do you do exercise? Do you release your tension in any way?
Yes. I go to the gym every day, and I go to
Hmm.
Taekwondo fighting 2 times a week.
Awesome. And Taekwondo is like, which country is Taekwondo from? I think it's Korea, isn't it?
Yes, South Korea.
Wow, awesome. And how good are you? Are you really, really good?
I guess no, not so good yet because I'm a beginner. I'm just in the second level, and there are at least 10 levels.
Oh wow. Okay, but you know, one.
Hello?
Are you guys still there?
Yes, I'm here. I
Yes,
lost my
yes.
connection for a while.
Hello?
All right. I don't know if that was me or you or anything, but anyway, sorry guys. I'm still here, and so are you. Excellent. We're gonna get started with our article today. So if you'd like to load it up, it's there in the chat box for you. If screen share. So there we go. We have got, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask Edgardo, could you read the title for us and we'll talk about it for a second?
Why your brain loves procrastination.
Excellent. Okay, the first thing that we need to talk about is the word procrastination, pronounced perfectly by Edgardo. Well done. What does it mean?
Procrastinate.
Yep, to procrastinate is the verb, but what does procrastinate mean?
To delay something. Oh, sorry.
Very good. No problem. To delay something, exactly right. It means that you don't do something that you should be doing, that you put something off, that you delay it. So, is there anybody in this class who procrastinates?
Yes,
I
me
do.
always. I do.
All the time.
Okay, there's any of the boys? No, are you guys all perfect?
I procrastinate all the time.
The same, I guess, for all of us.
I think this is one of those things that everybody does at some point, right?
Yes, it is not a good thing because you can reach your goal in the times in the time you have. Mm,
Yeah, exactly. That's such a good point. It stops you from achieving things that you want to achieve. And really, it's a totally pointless thing to do. So why do we do it? This is kind of an interesting article, and I'm not going to tell any more. I'm just going to get started with reading. So we're going to take it in turns to read. Just take your time and do your best reading. I'll help you if you make any mistakes, and then we'll talk about things as we go through. So I'm going to ask Edgardo if you could carry on for a little while for us and read a little bit more.
The first paragraph?
Yes, please.
Okay. Most people procrastinate from time to time, and most of the time it's not so harmful. Putting off doing the laundry for a few days or 15 minutes here and there, lost in Facebook.
Keep going.
But procrastination can also create huge problems for many people, at work, at school, and at home. Consider all the people who keep meaning to start saving for retirement, for example, but never do it, or people with obesity or diabetes who constantly tell themselves, I will start eating right now, but never do it. Roughly 5% of the population has such a problem with chronic procrastination that it seriously affects their lives.
Beautiful reading. Thank you, Edgardo. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the words or what we've just read?
Teacher, I can see the beginning of a phrase. Can you?
How about that? Is that better?
No, I can't. No, I
Is it maybe the left-hand side of the screen? There's nothing I can do about that. Sarah, I'm sorry. It's
okay, no
because
problem. Don't worry.
actually, I maybe could zoom out. How
Okay.
about that?
Now I can see.
Is that big enough for you guys to read?
Now I can.
All right, so when it's your turn to read, if you would like me to zoom in again, just let me know, okay? And we'll keep it like this for the moment so that Sarah can join in. Okay, so are there any questions about the vocab or the grammar or anything in the first section?
What does it mean, roughly?
Roughly. Okay, what does roughly mean? Anybody know?
Approximately.
Perfect.
An estimate.
Yep.
About.
Yep. Perfect. Well done. All three are correct. About 5%, roughly, approximately. Well done. An estimate. Any other questions?
Yep. What does chronic mean in that context? Chronic,
Good
chronic
question.
procrastination.
Anyone know?
Chronic.
Is
I
that like
think it
severe?
It like happens all the time. It's like
Habitual.
happen always.
Correct. So you're right.
A
Chronic can have
persistent
different
issue.
meanings. Yep, that's perfect, Mulham. A persistent issue. That's a lovely way of putting it. So it means that it's something that's long term. It happens for a long time. So if you have a chronic illness, it's an illness that does not go away. Okay?
Okay,
It
great.
affects you for your whole life or for a long time. Yep. Any other questions? Okay, let's just read a tiny bit more and then we'll start talking about it. So I'm going to ask Mulham from none of it, please.
Okay. Uh, one moment, please. None of it seems logical. How can people have such good intentions and yet be so totally unable to follow through? Conventional wisdom has long suggested that procrastination is all about poor time management and willpower. But more recently, psychologists have been discovering that it may have more to do with how our brains and emotions work.
Thank you,
Pro
Mulham.
okay,
We'll stop there just for
thank
a
you.
second. This word here is a little bit tricky. You did really well. Just the ending. So it should be psychologists.
Psychologist.
Perfect. Well done. So I know that ending of TS is a little bit tricky. It's maybe worth practicing just the noise and then adding it onto the end of the word, but well done. Any questions from that paragraph about vocab?
what does he mean? Wisdom. Conventional
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Great. Firstly, who can explain what wisdom is? This could be a class in itself.
Knowledge.
I can only think of Buddha when I think wisdom.
Okay, I really like knowledge is definitely connected with it, but it may be slightly different to knowledge. I think it also incorporates something else.
Like when people say words of wisdom.
Yep, words of wisdom. What are words of wisdom?
Someone who a
Or
lot of
study.
experience.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think wisdom is a combination of knowledge and experience. That would be my definition. But it might be worth looking it up in the dictionary to see what it says. Any other questions? No? Okay. So if just actually, I know that you did mention this word too. So conventional wisdom. What would be the difference between normal wisdom and conventional wisdom? Anybody know?
Between what?
Conventional.
It's like the practiced ideas, the practiced wisdom, like it's like the idiom rule of thumb. It's the conventional wisdom, the wisdom that is separated between people. That is
Beautifully
not
described.
a joke.
Yep. Lovely, thank you, Mulham. That's really well described. So it's sort of like maybe think the wisdom that's accepted by most people. We all agree on it. Okay, so let's continue. And this time, I'm just going to say hello to Adriano. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the class. Are you following what we're doing, Adriano? Are you following us? Okay. All right, I can't hear you. Maybe there's a little bit of a connection problem, so we're just going to carry on. I will come back to you, okay? So, Nelson, your turn. From procrastination, they've realized.
Okay. So, procrastination, they've realized, appears to be a coping mechanism. When people procrastinate, they are avoiding emotionally unpleasant tasks and instead doing something that provides a temporary mood boost. The procrastination itself then causes shame and guilt, which in turn leads people to procrastinate even further, creating a vicious cycle.
Thank you. Absolutely great reading. Questions? Are we all okay? All right. In that case, we'll continue, and it's Ramon's turn. Ramon, but getting.
Okay, just a sec. But getting a better understanding of why our brains are so prone to procrastination might let us find new strategies to avoid it. For example, psychologist Tim, I don't know how to pronounce this name, has co-authored a paper slow and showing that students who forgave themselves for procrastinating on approval exams were actually less likely to procrastinate on their next text. He and others have also found that people prone to procrastinate are overall less compassionate toward themselves, and insight that points to ways to help.
Thank you. Could you just read this one too for us, please? Unfortunately, it's the name that you can't pronounce, but you can just go beep and then a professor. Ramon, could you continue?
Okay, a professor, a professor at Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada, has been studying procrastinators for some 19 years. I talked to him about why people procrastinate and how they can learn to stop. How can I pronounce
Beautiful.
the name?
I would say it's probably Pikel. Pikel?
Okay, thank you.
But I could be wrong there. All right, questions about this last little bit before we get stuck into the questions. We okay? Everybody following? All right. No questions about vocabulary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask.
Can
Yep.
forgive like this sentence? Who forgive themselves for like the fourth line?
Okay. Yep.
Who it's like forgive, but the past tense, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank
No problem. Okay, I'm going to ask Raphael. Raphael, could you please give us a little summary of what we've found out so far? What has the introduction of this article told us?
That people are used to procrastinate with almost everything, and at least with my understanding, not all of the situations people are supposed to procrastinate. Sometimes we have to procrastinate depending on the situation, but yes, that's what I understood so far.
Okay, interesting. Yes, I think the interesting part for me was the fact that actually it's not actually what you think it is. So you think everybody does it, and you wonder why, because they seem to have good intentions, but it actually seems to be what they call a coping mechanism, and it's a way of avoiding things, especially emotionally unpleasant tasks, which actually does make perfect sense, at least when I think about my own life. So what we're going to do is read the little interview and see what we find out. And Raphael, if you could read the first question and the first part of the answer, please.
Uh, Susanna Locke, what are the biggest misconceptions about procrastination? Answer. When a procrastinator thinks about themselves, they'll think, oh, I have a time management problem, or I just can make myself do it. There's a problem with my willpower. And when other people think about procrastinators, they use that pejorative term, they're lazy.
Thank you, Raphael. And I'll ask Sarah if you could just read the rest of the answer from But Psychologists.
Yes. But psychologists see procrastination as a misplaced coping mechanism, as an emotion-focused coping strategy. People who procrastinate are using avoidance to cope with emotion, and many of them are not conscious emotion. So we see it as giving in to feel good. So we see it as giving in to feel good, and it is related to a lack of self-regulation skills. I can simplify that and say that psychologists recognize we all have a 6-year-old running the ship, and the 6-year-old is saying, I don't want to, I don't feel like it.
Thank you. Okay, lovely reading from the both of you. Thank you. This is a little bit of a tricky sentence here, Sarah. So what it is, it should be read something like, so we see it as giving in to feel good, right? So this to is really in order to feel good. And what is to give in to something? A nice phrasal verb.
Like surrender.
Yes, nice. Okay, to surrender. Exactly. So I would say something a little bit more specific, like to surrender to pressure, because you could say giving up is surrender as well.
Yes.
So it's a little bit different to giving up. Giving in is like you surrender because of some kind of outside pressure forcing you to give in. Whereas giving up comes just from you. You're just like, oh, I can't stand this, I'm giving up. Okay? So the pressure is coming from wanting to feel good, obviously. Okay, so let's have a think about this first section. The question is, what are the biggest misconceptions? So I'm going to ask Edgardo, what are the biggest misconceptions? What's the answer? What did we learn?
I have to read.
No, I just want you to, because we've just read the answer here, so can you tell me in your own words, what are the biggest misconceptions? What does Tim really say?
Well, I think that say that it's not just to being lazy. It's much more than that.
Correct, absolutely. And anything else you want to add?
Yes, I'm reading is something related to the lack of self-regulation skill. So I think it has to do with maybe willpower, or the
Okay,
power, the
willpower.
decision that the people have.
All right, so yes, it's a little bit tricky because it's not so much to do with time management or willpower as perhaps it is to do with emotional coping strategies. So how you cope with things that you don't really want to face, and that's the interesting thing that people may not have thought about. So if you're interested in watching the video and you like The Simpsons, then go ahead and watch that, but we're not going to watch it right now. So what are you discovering about how procrastinators' brains work is the next question, but it's a bit cut off, so I'm just going to read that for you. And then we're going to ask Shell if you could read the answer. So the question is, what are you discovering about how procrastinators' brains work, and what does Tim say?
Recently, we've been doing research that relates to the work on present self slash future self. Because what's happening with procrastination is that present self is always trumping future self.
Could you continue, please?
Okay, Hal Hirschfield has done some really great research on looking at how we think about future self. He's shown that in experimental settings, if someone sees their own picture digitally aged, they're more likely to allocate funds to retirement. When the researchers did the fMRI studies, they found our brain processes present self and future self differently. We think of future self more like a stranger.
Beautiful, Shell. Thank you. Um, okay, so this is a tricky word because you have to know what role it plays grammatically before you can actually pronounce it correctly. So up here we've got present self and future self. And that was the correct pronunciation. And it's the same down here, so present self and future self. If it's a verb to present, that's when you change the emphasis, okay? But both of these are present.
Okay, got it.
But well done. Apart from that, perfect. Okay, let's talk about words that we don't understand.
Trumping.
I knew someone was going to come up with trumping. Anyone know what trumping means?
Interrupt.
Not interrupt. Nice
Mm.
try.
To prevail over?
Very nice. Absolutely. To prevail over. There's actually a card game. No, in more than one card game, we have something which is called a trump. And it means that one card is almost more powerful than another card, so it will win. If those two cards are presented at the same time, there's one card that will win over the other card, and that means it trumps the other card. So it means to win, to prevail over, something like that. So in this case, the present self always wins over the future self. Why does the present self win over the future self? Anybody?
Why?
Yeah.
Mm.
What does it give as a little explanation in that paragraph?
Well, because for example, if you have something to do that's not for right now, you can do it on the future. Then you rather um, be working on something else because you think that, well, I probably can find some time to do it next in the future because that's not that important, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I think anyway, Nelson, when I'm procrastinating. So it's like the present is right now, so it's obviously more relevant in the future because the future is not happening at the moment, so I don't need to worry about it. But if you treat life just like that, you might get yourself into some trouble. So it's a bit of a tricky situation. Um, okay, what did you guys think about this part here? It's got it in big letters. It obviously thinks it's pretty important. I found it rather interesting when I read this before. Any comments?
Because we don't think in the future. And if we have a clear summary, what will happen with us in the future, and maybe in 5 or 10 years, I think we should be more concerned about our future and what will happen next.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. Has anyone ever seen their own picture digitally aged? No, I think it's pretty clever. I've certainly seen it on TV and on those, weight loss programs, and they use it to scare people. It's very terrible. Okay, whose turn is it? It must be back to Edgardo, my graduate student.
My graduate student, Eve Mary Lewin Hudon, just did 3 studies, and what she looked at is our ability to imagine the future self. She measured people's self-continuity. You will see circles representing present self and future self, and choose how much to overlap them. Some people see this self as completely distinct, and some people see them totally overlapping. The people who see the present and future self as more overlapping have more self-continuity and report less procrastination.
Beautiful, thank you. This is a bit of a confusing word here. This is pronounced continuity.
Continuity.
Yes, well done. Beautifully read, Edgardo. Any questions about vocabulary? No? All right, this is a little bit of a tricky paragraph, just in what it's really talking about. I'm going to ask Mulham, can you just explain in your own words what this is saying, this paragraph?
Yeah, I think I can. If someone is feels real, if someone when someone sees his future self in a picture, if he feels like he shared the same quality, the same features, the same look with his current self, he'll be less to procrastinate, according to Eve Marie Bolen researches.
Beautifully described. Well done, Mulham, because that was quite tricky. So I really like the way you put it. Yeah. If they feel like sort of connected to their future self, then they're less likely to procrastinate, which is an interesting kind of observation, I would say. I'm just going to welcome Kako. Hey, Kako.
Hey teacher, nice to see you again.
Nice to, well, actually, I'm going to say nice to hear you too.
Yes, nice to hear you
All
as
right,
well.
have you been following the class, Kako? Have you just joined us or have you been watching?
I was on holiday for some days,
Okay. No, I
and
mean
I
this
am
class,
returning
Kako.
today.
This class, have you been watching this class or did you just arrive and you don't know what we're talking about? That's what I want to know.
No, teacher, I accompanied out of the class during some minutes.
Okay, so you know that we're talking about procrastination.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, that's good. All right, so we're just going to continue. And we're going to continue but with some reading. And I can't remember who I'm up to. Mulham, I think it's you. Did you just read? No, it's your turn. She's doing.
Okay. She's doing a study right now using an imaginary intervention. So she's going to have students think of an image of themselves at the end of the term, and the hypothesis is that those students who engage with this imagery of future self will then procrastinate less. We think that people will make less procrastinatory choices now because they'll realize that it's me in the future we're talking about here. I'm going to be under the gun.
Very nice, thank you. Okay, questions?
Well, I actually found something about what the author is talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps if I could just share it on the chat box. Well, it's an image of the digital self to which most participants would say that they would invest more or they would put more savings or do not
Towards?
procrastinate saving when they see their digital selves,
Oh, wow,
agent
very
selves.
interesting. Thank you, Shell, for
I think
finding that. If you guys click on the link, you'll see it's a difference between frowning and smiling, right?
yes, there
So
is.
that's
So
really
they
funny.
tend, yeah, so the more, so they tend to not procrastinate, saving just to see them their future selves smile. I think that's the
Hmm.
okay. Anyway,
Thank you,
interesting.
Shell. No, that was really handy. I would, yeah, have a look at that, guys, and click on it if you're interested in seeing the different pictures. Um, so let's see if we'll get Kako to read the next little bit and find out what we think is the most surprising thing about procrastination. So, Kako, could you read this for us, please?
What's the most surprising thing to you about procrastination? Procrastination. I think the most surprising thing that I am still grappling with is that for many people, the experience of procrastination doesn't match the definition that most of us are working with: a voluntary delay of an intended action despite knowing you are going to be worse off for the delay. If you speak to people, they tell you that it doesn't feel voluntary. I feel like I have no control of it. For some people, it feels totally involuntary, like they can't help themselves. Grappling. Teacher,
Teacher, we can hear you.
You can't hear me, and I wonder how I managed to mute myself. Thanks for reminding me. That was weird. Okay, does anybody know what grappling means?
Like trying, well, in that context, I think it means that he's still trying to understand.
Absolutely. Even maybe wrestling could be another synonym in that case. It's like almost fighting or trying to understand. Absolutely. Okay, I would like to ask you, because you just talked, Nelson, what does it feel like when you procrastinate? Do you think it feels voluntary or involuntary?
Um, it's kind of voluntary because I know that I will be, in fact, worse with the delaying the task, and I know that I have to do it, but I just can't help myself to do it. Like,
I know. I must admit, I thought it was a little bit strange when I read this. I don't know whether I feel voluntary or involuntary. Anyone else want to comment? Shell, what does it feel like when you procrastinate? Do you feel like you're in control or not?
At first, I would think that I could finish this at a certain time, but more often than not, I feel that it's an involuntary thing for me,
Hmm.
and it became habitual. So in the end, it didn't make me feel any good.
Yeah, I think it definitely doesn't make you feel any better, which is interesting considering the article says that the reason we do it is actually to avoid something that makes us feel bad. But Shell, asking you again, now that you've read this and you've understood a little bit about what the science is proving, do you think this is going to affect you? Do you think you might think twice when you feel like procrastinating?
Oh yes, definitely.
Well, that's good, even if you haven't learned any English. All right, we're going to read the next one because I think this one's cool, and then we're going to share our tips. So the question is, what is your biggest tip or your one biggest tip for stopping procrastination? So I'm going to ask Nelson to read, please.
Okay. Um, from the TP part.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my pet expressions is just get started. And it's important you don't say just do it. That's overwhelming, but you just get started. Whenever we face a task, we're not going to feel like doing it. Somehow, adults believe that their motivational state has to match the task at hand. We say, I'm not in the mood. Our motivational state rarely matches the task at hand, so we always have to use self-regulation skills to bring our focus to it. So at first, it will be, okay, I recognize that I don't feel like it, but I'm just gonna get started.
Thank you, Nelson. That was really well read. I really got the feeling coming through. Um, okay, I would like to ask, who should I ask here? I'll ask Raphael. Raphael, can you sum that up for us, please? What's he saying is the most important thing to stop procrastination?
Opinion or the text?
The text. Firstly, the text, and then I'm going to ask you what you think about it. But firstly, what does the text say?
To start, everything has a start, and we need to just get started.
Yep.
We need to start.
Yep. Can you make a comment on the second part of it, Raphael, this part here? Because I find this part quite interesting.
Yes, I agree with the. We need to start, but I think the most difficult is to establish your priorities because you can't do everything at once. You can do, and for most people, just start is difficult. Yeah, I think we need a show, we need a push, we need something to start, or we need a shock to put your finger in the outlet and wake up, man. The light is running out, and you need
Hey, quick, look at a
go
picture of you
ahead.
being old.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, we don't have a picture. I think I will start working on my picture, and on on Photoshop maybe and put a picture on my room so I can see it every day. I think this might be interesting.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting that the picture idea. Okay, so I like the way he says, just get started. I think that does help me a little bit because I think, okay, all I have to do is start. I don't have to finish the whole thing. I don't have to do it all today. I just have to start. It's much more manageable. What do you think, Edgardo? Do you agree or disagree?
I'm sorry.
So, do you think that it's easier to think about just starting something rather than, trying to get the whole thing done? Do you think this will help you just thinking, okay, all I have to do is start it?
I think is easier because that phrase it implies that if you just start, uh, you have done something. So you don't have to complete all the task, the whole task. If you just start, well, you are in the right path, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. Edgardo, what do you think about this little sentence here?
Well, I think that's absolutely true. We tend to think that our, let's say, our mental state or emotional state is more important than the task that we have to accomplish.
Absolutely. I found this quite enlightening, actually, because I believe that I definitely do this. I'm just like, oh, I don't feel like it, therefore I'm not going to do it. But actually, what he says is, it doesn't matter whether you feel like it or not, still start, right?
Anyway,
Okay, so, yeah.
sorry. Besides start, I think we before start actually we need to to make a preparation. We need to prepare ourselves and check before we will be able to end because it's not work with your start and we won't be able to finish what we started.
Yep.
I think it should just be more frustrating. I think it would be a frustrating experience and we could prevent you from other activities, other endeavors, and just to. I think it will just come to more procrastination. I think at the end, if you don't finish, it will leave you just to procrastinate more in the future.
Good point, Raphael. Good point. So what do you suggest? Maybe breaking down the task into more manageable pieces or setting up some kind of a plan?
I think you have to do both. Uh,
Okay.
you have to plan. Everything in life must be planned. So every activity, even the simplest activity, must be planned in order to finish. So
Mhm. Okay. I really like that different perspective. What from other of you, I'd like to hear your tips on how to avoid procrastination. How do you get over it? How do you make yourself do something? What are your personal tips? Raphael has shared his with us. Would anyone else like to share?
Okay. I what I do is to break the bigger tasks into smaller portions to which I
Mhm.
allot time for doing it. And I use this app. It's called Pomodoro.
Mhm.
You can set a timer. It's actually a timer where you set it at every 25 minutes. It stops. So for every 25 minutes, I will dedicate my whole attention and time doing a task. And after that, I stop, I make a break, I make a phone call, just 5 minute break, and then I do it again another 25 minutes. So it actually works until I'm done with the project, and then I start procrastinating again for another project.
Shell, I love your honesty. And actually, the Pomodoro technique is one that I have recently started using. And I found it very interesting because of the number of distractions that I usually encounter. At first, I wasn't even realizing when I became distracted, and I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, I just checked Facebook, you know, looked
Yes,
at my email, texted somebody. But if you keep going, you actually start not becoming distracted. It's almost like you have to train yourself into not being distracted, and then you start to make real progress, and it's quite satisfying. I don't know if you found the same thing, Shell.
thank you. Thank you for saying that. I thought it's only me who actually go
No.
defeats the purpose of Pomodoro technique. But oh well.
No, it happened to me as well. But actually, now that I've persevered a bit with it, my brain has learnt to not be distracted. But it took a little while. I have to admit that, embarrassingly. So if you guys haven't tried out Pomodoro, give it a go. Good suggestion. Okay, we've got time for one last comment. Would anyone like to make one last comment?
No.
No? You're all ready to jump into your next task in 1 minute when the class ends, right? All right,
Well,
guys.
I was going to say, well, what Shell was talking about dividing the task in small pieces. That's
Mhm.
actually like a common technique in programming. It's called divide and conquer.
Divide
So
and
basically,
conquer. I love
yeah.
it.
So basically, it's like you have a really big problem that is like kind of hard to see the solution to it. But by dividing into small pieces, then you can just put them together and get something working.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, Nelson. That's awesome. I'm going to put that on Facebook as the theme of today's class. I love it. Um, all right, guys. Well, good luck. I wish you all the best in your non-procrastination 2015s. And any other New Year's resolutions, you know, will be helped by this because you won't be procrastinating on the resolutions, hopefully. Have a really lovely evening or day, depending on where you are in the world, and I hope to see you all again really soon. Bye!
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, goodbye.
Bye!